Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining in again with me. My name is Sharon, and here beside me is sweet Fanny, and we are here to talk a little bit more about our theme, which is called More Bugs. And you may remember that last time we were talking very specifically at our last theme about a specific kind of bugs called an insect that had a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. And an abdomen was that last little bit of the bug, like a bee, its shaky back end. The abdomen would be the part that waggles when a bee does its dance, or the last part of an ant. And the abdomen was the place where the wings and the legs come out of. But this week we're talking about other kinds of bugs. Bugs that squiggle, bugs that squirm, bugs that creep, and bugs that crawl. Bugs that might be icky and sticky. There's a whole bunch of very special and unique bugs out there that we haven't really studied yet, except for in our greeting circle earlier this week. So let's look a little bit more into some of those. We'll just start by talking about our wonderful word of the week, which again, you probably remember, whoopsies, wrong side, is metamorphosis. And if you remember, metamorphosis means a change. It means some sort of transformation. So when a butterfly emerges from a cocoon or a chrysalis, it changes from a caterpillar. It's undergone a metamorphosis, and a caterpillar has changed into a beautiful butterfly. And we've just got a few different photos here that showcase that metamorphosis. So here we are here. This is a very close-up picture of a little caterpillar larva, like an egg. So that egg's going to grow. The larva's going to come out. And then what happens? Then it grows into a caterpillar. And you can see that fuzzy wuzzy little caterpillar there on the leaf. And then when it's ready, it takes a rest and hides inside a cocoon that it has built. And from that cocoon, there is a beautiful butterfly that emerges. And this butterfly in particular is called a painted lady butterfly. And that's a very interesting name, isn't it? So those photos showcase a metamorphosis. And I've got another photo card here that highlights some of that as well. So you can see the caterpillar, the cocoon, and then the butterfly quite up close. Have a look at that caterpillar. Think about some words that you would use to describe that caterpillar. What do you think, Fanny? What are some words? Yes, you heard me say that, didn't you? I think I got that from you. Fuzzy. And maybe even a little bit prickly. Are there any other words that you can think of? Maybe even a little bit hairy. Okay, now have a look at this photo. That is a worm. What are some words you would use to describe a worm? Maybe slimy, maybe sticky, maybe squiggly. Yeah, those are all really good words, and maybe you can come up with some more. There are some people who think caterpillars and worms are very similar. And some ways that they are similar are that they are long and squiggly, But some of the differences are pretty clear too. Caterpillars have lots of little legs. Caterpillars will eventually form a cocoon, and caterpillars will eventually transform into a butterfly. But worms don't do any of that. But worms, you know what, Fanny? You told me this the other day, do you remember? Yeah. Fanny told me this the other day, is that worms are very good for composts because they like to munch and crunch on all of that natural material, things like orange peel leaves, banana peels, even scraps of paper plates, that sort of thing. Push it down into your compost with some soil and it will all get eaten and munched up and form really, really rich, nutritious soil for your gardens, and your plants will love it. So worms are very, very good at that. It's interesting to think of worms and caterpillars, and it's interesting to think about their similarities, and it's also interesting to think about some of their differences, right? That's right. Okay, I have a story to share with you guys today. And I had to put Fanny down because it is a big story. And it's called Can You Move With Me? Now, we've sung this song a few times, but the pictures in this book are so glorious. They make me feel very happy. So I chose this thinking that you guys would enjoy it too. And we can think about some of the words that are in this and then move like some of those words too. So let's hear. Can you move with me? And it's a traditional rhyme, and the pictures are illustrated by Lynn Boyer. Can you move with me? I like this picture. Can you wiggle like a worm? Can you squiggle? Can you squirm? Can you squiggle and squirm, Fanny? Yeah, I've seen you do that. Can you flutter? Can you fly like a gentle butterfly? Can you crawl upon the ground like a beetle that is round? Can you move with me? These are ladybugs. I like the way they drew their feet. It's kind of fun. It's a make-believe drawing. Can you flip? Can you flop? Can you give a little hop? Well, I know Fanny can sure do that, can't you, Fanny? Yes. Can you slither like a snake? Can you give a little shake? Can you dance like a bee who is buzzing round a tree? Can you move with me? Let's see you wiggle like a worm, crawl like a beetle, hop like a bunny, slither like a snake, and dance like a bee. Can you guys try that? Let's sing it as we go through it one more time. And I would love for you guys to act it out as we sing along, okay? Think about how high you can hop, how crazy you can dance, how fast you can wiggle. So let's go. Can you wiggle like a worm? Can you squiggle? Can you squirm? Can you flutter? Can you fly like a gentle butterfly? Can you crawl upon the ground like a beetle that is round? Can you move with me? Can you flip? Can you flop? Can you give a little hop? Can you slither like a snake? Can you give a little shake? Can you dance like a bee who is buzzing round a tree? Can you move with me? Good job. Wiggle like a worm, crawl like a beetle, hop like a bunny, slither like a snake, and dance like a bee. I love that song. It's one of my favorites. Okay. So Fanny, you remember those words? Do you remember some of them? Flutter, wiggle. How about shake? What would you do? Shake, 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 shake. You got it. Now, do you remember the one I wanted to talk to you about? Do you remember what it was called? I'm going to whisper in your ear. Yeah. The icky, sticky bug. Yeah. Do you want to hear that one? Should we do it? You're going to do it with me? The icky, sticky bug crept down the garden path. Down came the rain and gave the slug a bath. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the icky, sticky slug crept up the path again. That's our icky, sticky slug. Okay. How about we do another one? The icky, sticky worm crawled deep into the dirt. Down came the rain and made him so alert. The worm crawled to the top to escape all the wet, and the icky, sticky worm dug deeper down, I bet. And there's our worm, crawling deep into the soil, making tunnels. Okay, one more. Do you remember that one? Not the slug, but the rhymes with pale. Snail. Okay. The icky, sticky snail crawled gently on a stick. Down came the rain and made him move so quick. Into his shell he curled up very snug. The sun came out again and gave the snail a hug. And here's our snail. I like that song. It's got lots of rhymes in it. Do you want to sing it one more time? Okay, let's use each of these. The icky, sticky slug crept through the garden path. Down came the rain and gave the slug a bath. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the icky, sticky slug crept up the path again. Let's look at worm. The icky, sticky worm crawled deep into the dirt. Down came the rain and made the worm so alert. The worm crawled to the top to escape from all the wet, and the icky, sticky worm dug way down deep, I bet. Okay, let's look at snail. Okay, remember, snail rhymes with pale. The icky, sticky snail crawled gently on a stick. Down came the rain and made him move so quick. Into his shell he curled up very snug. The sun came out again and gave the snail a hug. Those warm, sunshiny rays made him feel so good, as if he was getting a hug just from the sun. That's right. Okay, so let's just have a look at a couple photo cards here. Can you see what these photo cards are? A slug and a snail. Can you tell me what some of the similarities are between these? That's right. Yes, Fanny. They don't have any feet. They both don't have any wings. You got it. That is a similarity. But what is a big difference? The snail has its shell. That's right. The snail has a little bit of extra protection by having that shell. And it's a beautiful swirly pattern on that shell, isn't it? Did you know a funny thing about snails and slugs? We say they don't have any legs, but they have a protrusion, like a bump on their underside. And that bump is actually called a foot. Isn't that interesting? And it kind of moves a little bit, kind of expands and contracts and helps the slugs and the snails move. I find that very interesting. And remember what we talked about when you're in the garden and you start to see little holes in some of the leaves of your vegetable plants? Likely it's a slug or a snail trying to munch on some of your plants. And it's okay, a little bit is okay, but if they eat too much, then they become a little bit of a pest, don't they? So just to remove them out of your garden and put them somewhere else that's safe is probably the best thing to do, because we don't really want to harm anything, right? Okay, so we have a little bit of a story to share with you. And it is a little story about Wiggle the worm. Do you want to do it with me, Fanny? Okay. I would like you all to meet Wiggle the worm. And Wiggle the worm lived very happy with his family in the forest. They had a nice spot under a tree with very damp soil, and it was nice and nutritious and refreshing for Wiggle the worm and his family to live there and crawl through the soil and to enjoy themselves. But one day Wiggle woke up and thought, oh boy, I really want to see what life is like beyond this forest. He's just getting a little bit bored of his surroundings, the same old trees, the same old leaves, the same old soil. He wanted to go on an adventure. So you know what he said to his mom? Here's his mom. He said, Mom, I really, really, really need to see what life is like beyond the forest. Could I please go? Could I please go? And while Mommy Worm would miss Wiggle Worm a lot, she said okay. But you know what her advice was? To make sure you tunnel through the soil and to stay moist, because worms don't like to get dried up. They can't move if they get dried up. They need to have wetness and water on them to keep their skin moist and to keep them squiggling. So Wiggle said goodbye to his mom and to his family and said, see you soon, and off he went. So he went tunneling and tunneling and tunneling, and then you know what? He was under the ground and he couldn't get through. There was a big rock. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed, but he couldn't get through. So he tunneled down, like his mom said, to stay safe, to keep in the moist dirt where the food is nutritious. So he made it through. And he kept going and he kept going and he kept going. And boy, it was very, very tiring, but he kept moving. And then one day, he hit something again, and he thought, oh my goodness, what is that? Oh, he couldn't get through. So he tunneled down, but every time he tunneled down, he couldn't get through. So then he decided, okay, I've learned from Mom, I can tunnel through and around. And then he realized it was a stick. It was a stick from which a beautiful plant was growing from. So he tunneled through, and he made it. And then he got to the point, and Fanny, this is a little bit scary for Wiggle the worm, I think. The soil was getting drier and drier and drier. And then out he came, and he looked up, Fanny, and you know what he saw? He saw what looked like a castle. Oh my goodness, he had no idea where he went. And you know what happened, Fanny? all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, he got a big splash, and he learned he traveled much too far. He went out of the fresh, watery soil of the forest and ended up at the beach. And you know what he immediately did? He turned around and he went back home, dug deep underground, and returned to his mom, who was waiting there for him and was so, so glad to see Wiggle the worm come back. She knew he would, but lots of times you need to take a break and take a moment away from something to appreciate what you have. And Wiggle the worm did that. So it was a very big adventure, but it was a very happy ending because Wiggle Worm learned there's no place like home. Right, Fanny? Yeah, no place like home. So we're taking care of our homes right now, aren't we? So we wanted just to end our circle time activity with just a bit of a rhyming game. So Fanny's going to help me with this. And it's just a fun game, but let's see how quick we can be guessing these rhymes, okay? So Fanny, are you ready? You ready to guess the rhymes in the sentence? Okay. Abigail, the snail, crept along a trail. What are the rhyming words? Abigail, trail, snail. Yes, they all end with the same sound. That's a rhyme. Good job. Ready for the next one? Yeah, okay. Doug, the slug, needed a hug. What are the rhyming words? What are the words that end with the same sound? Let's think about it. Doug, the slug, needed a hug. That's it. Doug, slug, hug. Rhyming words. You got it. Okay. How about one more? Okay. Sturm, the worm, liked to wiggle and squirm. It's interesting. Sturm, the worm, liked to wiggle and squirm. What are the words that end with the same sound? Sturm, worm, squirm. Those are rhyming words. They all end with the same sound. You're right, Fanny. That is correct. Those are our rhyming words. Okay. So let's think of other rhyming words. Let's listen to the sentence again. Abigail the snail crept along a trail. Can you think of another rhyming word that rhymes with Abigail, snail, and trail? I know. How about pale? How about tail? How about rail? Those are all rhyming words. Can you think of one? What's the name of that person that delivers packages to you? He carries or she carries mail. That's right. Doug the slug needed a hug. I know. In the mornings, I drink my coffee out of a mug. That's right. I know a friend who has a kind of dog that is called a pug. That's right. Doug, slug, pug, mug. They all rhyme. They all end with the same sound. Okay, one more. Sturm, the worm, likes to wiggle and squirm. Okay, so something that rhymes with squirm and worm. Germ. Germ rhymes with those. We need to wash our hands so much lately because we need to prevent us from getting a germ. That's right. Germ rhymes with worm. And also firm. Firm rhymes with germ and it rhymes with worm. All of those are rhyming words. Yay, Fanny, good job. That's right. Well, I'm glad that you guys joined us today, and I'm so glad that we got to spend some time talking about some of the ickier, stickier bugs that don't get a lot of attention. Things like slugs and snails and caterpillars and worms, because they're all so unique and they're all so special, and it's fascinating to be able to study them. So what do you think, Fanny? Should we say goodbye? How do you want to say it? Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So, okay, friends. Goodbye, my worms, goodbye. Goodbye, my slugs, goodbye. Goodbye, my snails, goodbye, my caterpillars. Goodbye, my beetles, goodbye. Goodbye. Big kiss from Fanny. Mwah. Bye for now.